Hello Leo, and welcome to your in-depth monthly forecast for September for the Sun or the Ascendant. I'm going to give you the key strands to look out for. Please stay with me. I will then dive deep to give you in forensic detail all the key influences particularly relevant for your sign. For example, a sparkling new moon which occurs on the 25th of this month, which showcase the energy of your sign in terms of your thoughts and your ideas, but it is in a connection to Jupiter, the planet of fortune, which may be tracking backwards this month, but this is a new moon to really relish, so can't wait to tell you about that. And of course, Mercury's retrograde is going to get a lot of coverage. It's in shadow for the first 10 days of this month, which means it's not quite at its best, and it is actually in your sector of everyday communication. Then it goes into a retrograde on the 10th, but on the 23rd it forges a very special celestial event called Cazimi with the Sun. It's just brief before it inverses into the sign of Virgo, which it governs. So being very clear about communications this month is going to be important because of Mercury's retrograde, but also something that you're thinking about may need some modification, and you can start to really get the details nailed down towards the end of this month as Mercury forges an awesome link with Pluto, the planet of change, but also of penetration, which I can outline too. Now, of course, the big aspect beyond Mercury's retrograde and the moon phases is Saturn square with Uranus. So if you're wanting to change up your worldly situation, it may be that you need to collaborate with others, and it may feel that you're not getting all the collaboration that you deserve. But Mars is going to be giving you some extra support this month, so please stay with me whilst I outline all of this. If you are wanting to embrace more serious astrology and rise above this Zodiac forecast, if you give me 3 pieces of personal birth data of time, date and place of birth, I can give you a roadmap that can guide you for the rest of your life, help you to identify opportunities, but also see patterns that may have made at times your life more challenging, and learn how to work around these. But in my special offer of 30% off, if you order this year, I'll give you your year 2023 forecast within this package, but also the rest of 2022 free. Please see the link below. And finally, if you are new to my channel, I'd be honoured if you would subscribe. If you've already done so, thank you so much for your support. But if not, please click or tap on the bell notification symbol. Thank you. So Leo, as you come into September, Venus is in your sign. This gives you an opportunity to, for the first 5 days, to continue to think about ways in which you can perhaps add an extra dimension to your presentation or persona. Could be new haircut, new clothes. Those kind of things can give you an extra slice of confidence. But Mercury may be in shadow at the start of this month, but it is also forging a very potent link to Mars. And Mars is in your sector of friendship, so there can be some exciting conversations early on this month, particularly with people that you have a sort of connection with in a more worldly way, people that share your ideals or enjoy following a football team, or perhaps take part in some kind of group activity. These things can give you a lot of uplift at the start of this month. But in a more pragmatic way, your resources are very much under the astral microscope. And because we've all been facing those celestial headwinds around the cost of living, I think it would be no surprise to know that this may be an area that you need to be aware of. But you get a celestial bonus ball on the 5th when Venus moves out of your sign and into Virgo. Now technically it's in its fall here, it's not its best location, but for you personally this could be a trigger point for an improvement in your finances. Now, as ever, the harder we work, the luckier we get, and we can't just wait for the planets to provide for us. but that could be very helpful to you. It's also true, Leo, that there is in week 2 a dramatic link between the Sun in Virgo and that rather unpredictable energy in Uranus at the top of your chart. Because you're someone who can be quite conservative in your approach, trying different ways of grappling with things, it's not something that you don't have any desire to do. But certainly I think if you're born in the first 10 degrees of Leo, you can be less inclined to be more experimental. Now, if you're born in the second 10 degrees, because your secondary decan is Jupiter, you're much more open to those new and novel trends. And if you can think about how you can approach your professional or business situation in a more innovative way, you definitely can benefit from it, as the Sun forges a really helpful link to Uranus. But on the 10th, the full moon is asking you to balance the ins and outgoings between your everyday costs and your longer term aspirations. You know, if you're using your savings in order to prop up your everyday situation, that could be a little miserable. So Uranus is saying, look, try to find new ways to approach things, even if it means being a little bit more conscious or a little bit more open to perhaps technology. Now, Mercury's retrograde on the 10th in the 3rd house does mean that anything to do with transport or technology could potentially be a little bit unreliable through to the 23rd. But Mercury retrograde is something we need to embrace, not be fearful of. It just means if we are doing anything digitally or to do with technology or transport or journeying, that we plan everything with great precision, and that is really the lesson of Mercury's retrograde. Now in week 3, I do feel there could be some potential confusion around your financial situation as Neptune goes opposite the Sun. If someone, for example, told you about a get-rich-quick scheme, which seems a bit fanciful, well, you're probably right. Neptune can distort reality, so just be conscious of that. But the 17th to the 22nd can actually see you do very well financially, and a sudden piece of good news could really lift your spirits. The 16th to the 22nd is much more of a worldly change, because the 2nd house energy of the foundations of your world, where the Sun is till that point, and also your self-worth and everyday money, angles to the practical location of Pluto, the planet of change. So by being a bit more economical around some things and more precise and more organized, you could again gain some kind of improvement in your financial situation. The 23rd, however, sees the autumnal equinox. For the next 13 weeks, relationships is the big story for us all, but for you, very much those relationships immediately around you, with siblings, with neighbours, with people that you're in contact with on a pretty frequent basis. There could be a step up in energy as Mercury meets with the Sun, and you could have a brilliant brainwave idea on the 23rd before Mercury inverts into the sign of Virgo. This could be a point where you do need to go over something that you've perhaps experimented with or tried that is a bit novel earlier in the month. It may need a little bit of moderation or alteration in order to get it exactly right, but keep the faith. The 24th is not the time to be too unrealistic about your resources. Venus's opposition with Neptune could make you very generous to those who are less fortunate, which is wonderful, but it's all about making sure that you're keeping it real. The 25th, however, is that gorgeous new moon I was telling you about. You can dazzle people with your ideas in the following 4 weeks, and it's a great opportunity to travel. The 29th is enhancing that opportunity to travel, and if you're someone who really likes a lot of cultural stuff, I think Venus being in its home zone in Libra, but in the 3rd house, means that if you do visit somewhere, but you visit somewhere with a sibling, with a close friend, with a partner, but there's quite a lot of mental stimulation, such as a European city, you know, a cultural place, that would be a great a destination to head off to towards the end of this month. But Saturn, despite being in that rather tense right angle with Uranus all through the month, it is redeemed in the last 10 days with a great link to Mars. And your friendships and your long-term future, as long as you're working in alliances which are clear, constructive and supportive, can go from strength to strength. However, if there is a relationship, professional or personal, where there are some power issues or you feel very closed in and you can't really be true to yourself, that type of relationship may really need to be tackled in a head-on way this month.